Yeah, well, it's like one of those things where I'm not one of these people who's just like, oh, here's like a fucking Gen Z video content creator or whatever. But like, it's not that. There's a couple like video like younger like video essayists I watch. By younger I mean like somewhere in their 20s. But something that just drives me crazy that I just will like immediately delete off or like, no, I'm done, not doing that, is when they do that shit where they're just holding a microphone like, yeah, so we're just like when they're talking, like they don't even have like they just hold like their like earpiece right here like this and just like, yeah, so just coming in with that kind of, I mean, maybe not even coming in with that low energy, but just holding it like that shit just drives me crazy. I don't know what it is.
I've seen people do that with lapels too, which is really bizarre because, a lapel is supposed to be, you clip it to, in the olden days when people had a lapel, but you clip it there or you clip it to your shirt or wherever the heck you want, but then they're holding it like it's a handheld mic and it's like, it's not a handheld mic, that's a lapel you got there. Well, I don't know if anybody told you this, but it literally can pick up just fine right down here.
Well, I get it if it's something to like, something like Secret Service is like the condor has flown the coop. The condor has flown the coop, speaking of it that way. But that's like the only context I really think. I think
because in real life, they're technically speaking really quiet. If you really think, like in a movie, they're talking like so that the audience can hear them. But I bet you in real life, they're not just like, the condor has landed. The condor has landed. Like Bill, comment. We can hear you. We literally can hear you without the mic now. I heard you 3 rooms over. Oh, okay. Well, I just want to make sure, when they say loud and clear.
I'm not lying. It is loud and clear. I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah, Bill, you took that really too literally.
Mama didn't raise no liar. No, I guess Craig and the main thing. Yeah. So.
The devil may cry, both the old and the new anime. So we gotta, decide what is better, the older generation or the newer generation.
You just, no tension there.
Well, technically, one's not an anime. One of them's actually, it's a Korean-made show, and I don't consider that an anime. I feel like an anime has to be strictly Japan.
Well, American written and maybe directed, and I'm not sure if Korean directed, but American written and then Korean made.
Yeah, Korean made. So it's really
kind of like most other cartoons in America right now.
Yeah. What was weird? I was literally when I was eating breakfast today, we were watching a Ninja Turtles old school episode and whatnot, and I was watching the credits and I was like, holy crap, the Ninja Turtles actually has a bunch of Americans on the animation staff. That's so kind of bizarre. Because I even thought by, like, even the 80s, they started to get to that point where they're like, yeah, we, like, designed the character and wrote the story, and then we just ship it off and just, like, magic happens overseas, I don't know what they do. They swing a samurai sword around, you know what I mean? Throw some salt on the ground. However the fuck they animate that shit over there. But it comes back to us, and then as long as, everybody's in the right color costume, we don't have to go over there and, have a few words, and there we go. It's like, and then at the Comic-Cons, we make sure that those guys aren't seen at all, No, none of them. It's only the people that do the least amount of work get to go to the Comic-Cons.
What can we say? Yeah. Turtle power, right?
Yeah. It'd be like the guy that Transformers, like on the special features, like, I don't know, fucking killed Optimus Prime, and a bunch of bitches are like, crying and something like that. Like, it's a fucking toy. I don't fucking get it. Like, what's wrong with these people here? You know what I mean? What, you don't want new shit?
I just like the idea of that guy walking into like a room and just sees like, what's this one right here? Oh, it's Optimus. He's basically the main character. Takes a long hit off his like big ass like cigar. Like, kill that motherfucker. Who's this guy over here? That's Ratchet. What's his thing? Well, he's one of the good guys. Kill him too. I mean, that's a lot. What's this one? Megatron. Kill him. Give him a new paint job by the end. Like, I mean, I like the idea. Like, people have grown. Kids are seeing this movie and they're growing attached to it. And like, I think. How do you want us to kill him? I don't know. You can like just shoot like this guy. What was his name again? Ratchet. Yeah, you just shoot him in the back of the kneecap, and then shoot him in the back of the fucking head when he goes down. For all I fucking care. Like, a lot of kids are grow attached to these things. I'm not attached to it. I'm attached to fucking money. You attached to your fucking job? Like, oh yeah, sure, okay, cool. You heard him. Maybe that was Ironhide. I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah, well, they literally killed off like the majority of the main characters just so they could make a brand new line of,
Within the first 10 minutes, I'm not even like an old school like Transformer. I'm not even like an old head Transformer fan or anything. I know the general of it. But when I finally sat down and watched that movie, like, okay, it's Ironhide. I know him from the other movies or other iterations. That's Ratchet. And they're just like, bam, fuck you, bam. You know, just everybody. Just like, oh shit, you know. So I knew Optimus was going to die. I didn't know he was going to die in the first like 10 minutes of the fucking movie, you know.
It'd be like if you had like a Ninja Turtles movie or whatever. It's like a couple of years in, so maybe it's like like a cartoon one, not the live action one. But and they're like, yeah, in the first like 10 minutes, like all four of the turtles are dead.
Yeah, like, you know, Mikey.
And there's these new frog ones that are coming in. Are there frog ones with the No, not those ones. New frog ones coming in. You know, or fuck it, we'll find some other amphibian thing. It doesn't matter what it is. Just slap four phrases together and you got a new show, right?
Mikey gets like his neck snapped with his own nunchucks. Raphael gets like, you know, like drowned like in a fucking like toilet. Like, wait, what? Yeah, he just grabs him by the back of the head, just into the fucking toilet, you know. And like, you know,
Donatello's impaled on his own bow staff, like almost like if it was Vlad Tempe's. Leo just left there.
Leo just he just knocks his head on the back of like a table. Like, really? Yeah. Sometimes it's just an off day, you know.
Yeah, he slips. But Mikey left out some like trading cards on the ground, and he slips on that. And he falls back and hits the coffee table.
His Garbage Pail Kid trading cards. Yeah, I remember what time we're at.
Exactly.
But like, at the same time, yeah, that would have been. Yeah, I could imagine that. The same logic. A good thing that guy was on Transformers. Something I care less about than say Ninja Turtles. Like, ooh, okay. Now what we gotta do? We just gotta like change like the color of their fucking bandana. We could just sell a new fucking toy and then print out some cheap plastic like bullshit for new weapons or whatever. It's fine. Work's already like more than halfway done. Like, we don't have to kill him for that. Maybe we could just change out. No. I'm not making a variant.
Gotta kill him. Gotta kill him. Kids gotta know what death's like.
Yeah.
Believe me, I saw a lot of death in my day. You know. I was in Vietnam. No, I wasn't like fighting. You know, I was purchasing guns and selling them, but you know, I saw a lot of death.
Yeah, with my binoculars from a distance and laughed.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to see. You know, if I buy an artillery, I want to see it blow some shit up. You know, it's like that thing. You know, if you're gonna go out and buy a helicopter, you know, you're gonna strap a rocket launcher to it. You know, I mean, you tell them to get some fucking footage of that shit.
Yeah,
that's in the contract.
I realize there's more money in selling plastic than there is bullets. But shit, if there was more money in selling bullets, believe me, I'd fucking be there. You know, shit, we can get bullets for these kids. We should do that. That's the next thing. Like, dude, oh god, shit.
Yeah, shit, they can kill each other off, and then we gotta put new kids out there. We got a new audience. Like, whoa! I think you're going a little bit far off this now. Now you've just gone to it like this. Like, well, what? Come on, money.
Brought to you by Hasbro.
We're gonna do the same thing. You know, we got some other toy lines we could do this with. What with He-Man? No.
Strawberry shortcake, yeah. My Little Pony.
Yeah, Devil May Cry.
Bambi's mom got shot. Why can't My Little Pony? All right, next one.
Yeah,
next, sorry. Devil May Cry.
Say, Devil May Cry. No, Dante doesn't die at the very beginning of any of these ones. If anyone is wondering, there, you know, just be like, you know, those ones be like, okay, we're gonna kill Dante off at the first 10 minutes.
Well, I'll say we should probably talk about because we left off last time I was on. We left off on the first 6 episodes of the original 2007 one, so we could probably pick up on the last 6 episodes. I'm not gonna lie, I watched them a while ago, so memory's a little fuzzy, but I kind of remember the gist of what each episode was. I can tell you, I think I liked the first half more. But the second half is still fun. I still liked it. Like, I wasn't really I didn't really have any real super strong even though I like Devil May Cry as a franchise, I didn't really have any super strong emotions or feelings for the show. I think there are some really good moments that stand out and have heart to it, because I think something that people kind of forget about Devil May Cry a lot is there is an underlying it's not the first thing that comes to mind, obviously, but there is a underlying kind of like sensitivity to some of the stuff in it, you know, to some certain games.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and I know what you mean too. Is like this stuff is all kind of a little bit ran together by this point, because we were literally going to split these things up into like 5 episodes initially, and here we are at 2.
Yeah.
So it just kind of happened that way. But yeah, no, I like. I probably enjoyed those 6 episodes probably as much as the first 6. I like one of the ones I thought was hilarious was the first one where Dante goes to jail, and then they got that warden guy who's very, very, very rapey. He's all like, I like that ass coming in there, boy. They're gonna lock you in here. It's just like, yeah, you don't. I'm fucking Dante. You know.
That one is probably my favorite of this bunch right here, because that's the one where he's trying to prove the other guy's innocence.
Yeah.
And the guy made a wish. Now, here's the one thing that made me kind of question about the world of this, because I said it's cool seeing that there's still a world, like you have to worry about demons and stuff, but it's still like a lived-in world and not just this dystopian hellscape that how's everything function, who exactly hiring him to clear these things out, you know. The only thing that made me confused, but granted, he didn't look like the brightest guy, especially from his wishes, but there's the guy who was like, I didn't even think demons were real. Like, you didn't. They pop up every other day on this fucking show. I thought it was common knowledge these fucking things are real. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he lives in a shack or something. Doesn't leave too often. I don't fucking know. But yeah, but even going off his like first couple wishes, like he's really a good guy. And then you see his couple wishes. I want all the women in the world to like want to blow me. Like, can't help you there. Oh, I want to be the richest guy in the world. I want all the money. I can't help you there. Like. Oh, you know, so just like, you know, and then the demon waits for like the most worst opportune time, like, fuck you, I hope you die. The demon's like, okay, well, boom, you know.
Yeah, they're playing like fucking darts in the bar, and like his buddy beats him. He's like, you fucking asshole, I hope you fucking die today. And the demon's like, there we go, that's the wish.
Yeah, like I like that concept, but the guy himself, like, this introduction didn't seem like he was like the smartest or the best guy. But as it goes on, you know, you kind of feel for the guy a little bit. And there's this whole thing. His sister comes to, this is the one I remember pretty well because this episode stood out to me. His sister comes to like hire Dante, and Dante takes the job, even though there's little to no money for it, or I'm not even sure if he gets paid by the end.
Yeah, she gives him like a pendant or something. She gives him something like, just like, this is all I have. You know, one of those things. I'll fucking take it.
No, but then he gives it back to the guy at the end, but that's the twist. He gives the pendant to the guy. And then that episode, I noticed like there was swearing throughout this show, but this episode, they just like, in a matter of like 4 minutes, they just chamber in all the fucks, all like the fuck bombs and all the F bombs or whatever. And they say, listen here, you fat fuck, I'm gonna fucking kill you, you know, like when the rapey warden comes in, you know?
Yeah, well, that's always the weird one too. Is when you're watching a show and it's like, okay, like it's Devil May Cry, so it is rated R. But like when you're in the 2000s, it's that time period where it's like you can have things that are still ultra violent, but like swearing is a kind of a new concept for video game stuff. Like it's still like one of those ones. Like I remember even as a kid, like one of the first games to be like there was a lot of F bombs in it was like when you got the Getaway. You remember that one? It was like the British like Grand Theft Auto.
I remember it. I didn't play it, but I remember Vice City actually having a lot of swearing when you first played it. Like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah, and Vice City had a lot of swearing, but I don't think it had really F-bombs in it yet, because I wanted to say that they even savored that towards San Andreas. I could be wrong. There could be a couple in there, but like there's swearing. There's definitely a lot of shits, dams, hells, all that kind of stuff. But
which this had that, but it just seemed like it was saving all its F-bombs for like just this episode suddenly, you know?
Yeah, because that was the thing. Is I'm like, I didn't remember in the first 6 episodes, so I was just kind of like, it kind of threw me for a curveball there, because I was just like, whoa, that's kind of weird. I wasn't expecting that there and whatnot. And then the episode was also getting a little bit more intense too, just with that warden guy. Boy, was he just excited to see Dante show up there.
Like, oh, you look like that boy from Supernatural. Use some white hair dye. Come on in, you know, like. Yes, I'm a big CW fan, you know. So.
Can't you tell?
You'll see my W. I haven't thought of that metaphor yet, but I'm gonna make it happen. Don't worry. We'll brainstorm together. We'll brainstorm while I'm like, bending you over, you know.
CW would be a lot better though if they got rid of those women in that show. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. You know what I mean.
Can I get the man W, you know? Sorry, I've been in this prison a lot longer than all the other inmates here.
And then they just quickly make work of that guy. But I guess the big thing about that show, then even Lady comes across that demon, like, okay, sure, I'll make the wish, and then tries to take her out, but can't, because it's kind of like a low level demon. But then
I like a lady gets really pissed, like, what the fuck can you do? You know what I mean? Like, shit. You fucking
she just tries to blow it up, like, fuck this thing, And then the guy basically comes in, like, all right, after Dante proves the guy's innocence and proves it was a demon that basically killed his friend. as he says, your sister hired me, but my sister's been dead for years. Like, well, she gave me this pendant. Like, I thought I lost this, and he gives it to him. The guy starts just breaking down, crying, and then it's cheesy, but it's still kind of like sweet. He walks outside. The lady's out there. She smiles and like, whew, just disappears like a ghost. And it's cheesy, but it works. And which it's another thing about Devil May Cry. I guess it's like, oh, I guess ghosts are here too. So.
Yeah, demons goes, but no, that episode's pretty darn good. I thought the story's good. It's funny. It's got some good action in it, and just like, just even that dude's like kind of plot. Because I feel like that guy's he's probably like blue collar dock worker or something like that. So of course when he goes when the witch fucking demon shows up, and he's like, he's gonna go for all those questions, those ones like, can I have two girls at the same time?
Yeah,
and the witch demon's like, no.
If he was just the dude from Office
Space.
Office Space, if he was that guy, I think he would have just adapted quickly. Just because even the way the dude sells, I'll tell you what I do, man. Two chicks at the same time. And he laughs. And he's like has the most stern, serious look ever. Like two chicks. That's what you do. If you do anything, goddamn right. And chicks dig guy with money. That guy with money could hook that up. So if it was that guy, he would probably just like go with the flow. Like, I guess I'm going to prison, but I can make this happen. He just gives me that vibe.
Yeah, he make the most out of it, But speaking of other episodes in there too, another one that I thought was actually kind of cool is there's one where it's like a high stakes poker game one that Dante enters himself into, and I love how like the little girl's like, she's like, Dante's the worst at poker. Like, he always loses. What is he entering? You should put me in here. I'm 11 years old. I know how to run like Vegas.
Yeah, that was one where I was a little bit more of like, okay. Like, I'll be 100% honest. Like, I've played poker a couple of times, but every time I go in, I have to be reminded of what it is or look it up, like the rules and whatnot. So whenever you have like,
you're not just sitting there like, go fish. You're like, Ryan, that's not the game.
Yeah, Uno, reverse card.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking slap it down real hard. Yeah.
Does anybody have any Charizards? No. I think you're really confused here.
I think I need some energy cards.
Yeah, exactly. No gym member cards? No? Oh, shit. All right. Fuck. No, I didn't even know that game. I played it once or twice, but I don't even know that. I guess whenever you do the episode of like, we're all playing poker, like that can be fun. Like Casino Royale is one of my favorite Bond films. So, but it's everything else in that movie. I mean, the card scene, I'm able to get what's going on just from the drama and the weight of it. But whenever there's the like, the environment of a casino for like an action or a suspenseful movie. But I don't know. Anytime we get to we're all going to sit around and play cards for a while. I get a little bit like, I'm just kind of waiting for someone to like reveal themselves to be the bad guy, and then like guns go off, especially when a little girl comes in. Like I think it's kind of funny. Like, okay, they're playing cards for ice cream or whatever, and then like comes in and they're like, I'm going to do it. Like, all right, you play two hands. Get the fuck out, kid. Well, I want to do it,
Was that the way? She's like, Dante, you owe me 10, strawberry shortcakes or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, whatever. Maybe buy you one. Fuck it. Like, how would you just go fucking do the laundry?
Go clean the chimney again.
Yeah, exactly. One of those ones, because she's still just there in this whole show, just literally like Dante somehow, some way has just slightly adopted like an 11-year-old girl who's just pretty much his like glorified maid.
Yeah, and it's like he's supposed to be. Yeah, I mean, I hear mixed things with this show being canon and not being canon. I guess one thing is like, I mean, this episode's kind of like whatever, but the one before it, which was the one where Dante goes back to town and there's that one guy who says, yo, Tony, what's up? Yeah. And he's just like, I'm not Tony. Oh, that's something Tony would totally say. Come on, Tony, you should come over for like barbecue. Like, all right, cool. And then like, yeah, so we know that like you were chased out of town and people blamed you that there was that you killed everybody. But we know it was a monster because a monster attacked a little bit ago. Does that suck, Tony? Yeah, I'm not Tony. Yo, come on, Tony. Like, check this shit out. And then it reveals that like he finds out that Yeah, it is. Dante is in fact the guy he thinks, and his name was originally Anthony or something like that. And he brings him in like he's like his long lost friend, and then we find out the reason why this demon came in the first place was for Dante as a kid and his family. So all these people, this whole village, the section of this whole village died because he was there. So suddenly this guy has this realization that Dante's a demon. The thing came because he's a demon. So it has this sad like, Tony, you really fucked us over. You know.
Well, there's the part too where they go to meet like somebody's grandma, and one it's like, "Dude, grandma, check it out, it's Tony's back. You remember Tony?" She's like, "Ah, I remember Tony."
Yeah, fuck Tony.
Yeah, you know. And then she's like, "Okay, is the boy out of the room?" And she's like, "Yeah, I know you're not the same Tony. You know, I mean, grandma eyes can see all this stuff here, and so on like that. And yeah, you know, I'm in this hospital bed waiting to die. So you might as well just be his friend. Just be his friend. That's all he needs. He's kind of special, you know." You know, he was touched by an angel or some shit like that. Don't let him down though. I don't think he could take one more letdown.
He's special, but he's not really good at anything, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to skills. You know.
I mean, he's never beat me at tic-tac-toe once. I even tried to like throw the game to him, and he's not getting it. He doesn't grasp the concept. He keeps on saying "Go fish." Like you know, you ask when Tony's coming back. So looks like you're Tony now.
Close enough. Who the hell even knows what Tony looked like? I don't even think Tony was real. But just keep up the charade and go with it.
That's where they come across like a box of like frosted flakes. Like it all comes together.
The guy goes up to like Dante's like, put this orange scarf on. Yeah, that's Tony I know. That's the Tony I know. He's like, I remember you used to have this catchphrase too. I really like the catchphrase you had. Like, I think it was like something like, "They're great." Dante, could you think you'd say that for me? Or Tony, could you say that, just for old time's sake?
No.
Just looks at not even for 10, strawberry sundaes. No, I won't say it.
Oh, those are high in calories. I'm not sure if Tony would approve.
I burn a lot of calories.
Yeah.
But no, that is an interesting episode. Just how the fact this guy's kind of confused. It's one of those ones where it's just like the whole time I'm like, I really want to see where this is going. Yeah, and I'm like, I just really want to see where this goes. Like, is this guy making shit up? Is Dante really this guy? Like, there was a lot of those questions the whole time I was watching that one.
And then there's the one where the little girl so it's like, I'm trying to remember, like, I think it's kind of interesting in some ways because it kind of expands on, like, I didn't realize this off the bat, but so Dante has his demon form, right? Mm-hmm. Virgil, when we go against him in Devil May Cry 1, though at the time when he was made, I'm pretty sure it was just some random demon we were fighting. I thought he was more Rocky or whatever, but he got transformed. He gets transformed into that thing at the end of Devil May Cry 3 and becomes basically an agent for Mundus or whatever that demon is. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, oh, that's just his. So there's these, whether they be hybrids or not, they just sometimes have this thing where they could look more like this. They just have this form, just this kind of like demonic, kind of badass looking form. Not like just that stands out more than other ones. The more like these more humanoid looking demons look less beastly, but like just these badass warriors. So I think this kind of adds to context to that, because the next episode, Dante fights two guys that have human forms, but they turn into versions of that. I'm like, oh, okay. So that kind of like, I'm not sure if this is canon or not, but it kind of fills in some of that blanks that kind of like, maybe these guys maybe they're not half demon, but they have that form that looks similar to his devil form or Virgil's devil form.
Interesting. Because I think if this thing is kind of canon, or the place it's supposed to fit technically is between 1 and 2 is where this animated show. I think I read
probably 1 and 4, I'd imagine. Maybe 1 and 2.
No, I think it's 1 and 2. It said. I want to say that's what I read at least. That's just in context and whatnot. Which I guess would make somewhat sense.
He does have one outfit, so that would make sense.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the other chick from 2, Lucia. You know,
But
which
she's also...
I did realize though that Trish is playable, and two, she's unlockable when you beat the game of Dante. So I think that's where I got that. Where I kept thinking that was why I was thinking the second disc was her for a second.
Is she just a skin, or is it like an all new character?
No, you could play. I remember you could play as her, like it's like kind of you play through the same game, you just have her moveset or whatever, kind of the same way that in I think Devil May Cry 3 you can play as Virgil.
Special edition version or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if it's back in those days if you was special. I think you just have to beat the game or whatever, and so on. But I was like, because I was trying to think, I'm like, I could have swore, and then I had to look that up. I'm like, what do you unlock when you beat Devil May Cry 2? It's like, oh, you can play as Trish. I'm like, there's where I remember that part from.
Okay, so the second disc was Lucia. So maybe that makes sense though. Yeah. I played that game once, and maybe once I unlocked Trish, I never went back. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, that's about all I did too. I played that game once. I probably unlocked Trish. Probably played like sometimes like that's like you can't play, and you go cool. You play like the first level or two, and you're like, hey, it's the same game, just with a different character. Oh, okay. Maybe another day I'll try that, and then you never do.
Yeah, and but yeah, there's the whole thing. Like one demon was kind of going after I think he was going after Dante, because he was the son of Sparta, and the guy had a grudge against Sparta, because Sparta, kind of something that comes back around into the new one. The guy had a grudge against Sparta for like abandoning his people, more or less, or sealing off the demon realm, something to that effect. And then his brother was like more like a somber kind of like, oh, it is what it is, man. We just kind of want to get along. But if you kill my brother, I'm going to have to kill you because I'm a good brother. But I'm not a violent guy like my brother. But, if you kill him, even though he attacked you first, I'm going to have to fucking kill you. But, it is what it is. I hope that you killed my brother. I'm mad now. So just like, sometimes it's just that like, they try to do that. It's this tragic honor thing. But sometimes like, it's still kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Some goofy stuff like that.
Yeah, he liked the little girl for some reason.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That episode's kind of like I might remember parts. It's weird. That's like the episode's probably closer to like the things that I've watched because towards the end. But I'm kind of trying to draw a blank between that one, and then it's like I think the last two kind of are like almost like connect together. And it's more just the big final battle. Of course, Trish and Lady come back.
Derpy, we find out he pops in a couple times, but I just thought he was gonna be a side villain. I know he's gonna be the main villain, but apparently his name's Abigail, the dorky, derpy looking like
with the cross-eyed look,
shopkeeper. Yeah, the innkeeper guy. Like, he's like, it's unfair. Lower level demons can't do anything but be killed or become demons themselves. It's just like, what do you feel bad for this guy? What do you want to do? So, they come across the little girl's mother, and little girl apparently stays, but we don't see her in any of the games, so it is what it is.
Well, yeah, it's kind of weird because she like finally finds her mom. There's a part 2 where she's like, "There's my mom," and Daughter's like, "Whoa!" It's like you're just seeing shit. Like your mom's fucking dead. Like that's why you clean my house.
I need a maid, so
yeah. So what are you doing outside the house, anyways? You're not supposed to be out here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Dante. I own really expensive property, but I don't pay my bills. I eat pizza and Sundays, and I kick back on the desk. That's what I do. I fight demons for a living.
And somehow I don't have like violent fucking diarrhea that would keep me on the toilet all day from just eating only pizza and Sundays.
Yeah, it's part of the demon powers. Pretty cool, huh?
That's how I keep these abs. Yeah.
So yeah, the little girl finally finds her mom and everything like that, and that was one of those ones where it's like I guess that's kind of cool, like in a sense, like sometimes like those things where it's like they try to wrap it up where it's like it's all okay and whatnot. It's like I kind of like the idea of like, no, you got a new lifestyle, but it's okay. It's Dante's a interesting surrogate like father.
Yeah, I mean. I like the show. I think it kind of peters out near the end just because it comes like, I think it was an ongoing show for like maybe 26 episodes or something. Maybe more. They could have had more to do in time. I guess because it feels like a lot of standalone episodes. And at the very end, they kind of like, remember that innkeeper? He popped up once or twice throughout the series. Like, oh fuck, I forgot about him until now. Okay, way more interesting things happened.
Yeah, it's like that, and then it like sort of tries to wrap up like the girl that's been that girl you've been questioning why she's been dropped off at Dante's house this whole time. Well, now we sort of have a story for that too.
Like I'm not like by any means like a Devil May Cry purist. Like I like Devil May Cry, I really do. I don't remember. I had 1 through 4 when they came out. I never played 5. I even had I had DMC also. I haven't played 5. I want to play 5. I beat 1. I beat 2. I never beat 3. I just wasn't good enough. I got near the end of it, but I never beat it. I beat 4. And I beat DMC. But I really don't remember all the lore to it. You know what I mean? It just kind of, it's because it seems kind of more passive. Like I remember just the big points. Like Lady learns to, because even though I didn't beat 3, I looked up the cutscenes later. Like, okay, Lady learns to like, not all demons are bad, and you know, sometimes humans are more evil than demons even. Or like Devil May Cry 2 is pretty straightforward. There was barely any plot to Devil May Cry 2. Devil May Cry 1, Trish looks like Dante's mom in like, I don't remember the details, but they work together. You know, it's weird. Like, I'm going to look like your mom, but I'm going to look hot as fuck, and I'm going to wear, like, next to nothing. Like, okay, that's...
And ride a motorcycle.
Yeah. That's
just right through your front door, too, like an asshole.
Like, God has it, because I think she's, like, an angel or something, right? Isn't she supposed to be, like, an angel or, like, sent from God or something like that?
She's got some types of powers stuff. But, I mean, I'll say the same thing, too, is, like, I've literally played every single Devil May Cry game from beginning to end. You know, and a couple of them a few times, like Devil May Cry 3 and 1, but it is that weird one that like it's like well, I think here's the thing. They're like those kind of games where like there is a story there. I'm not saying that, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like it's there just to sort of hold everything to kind of together, and it's more of like it's like isn't this a fun action game more than anything else? You know, with like just a slight story to keep it rolling.
Yeah, and keep it rolling. Yeah, we'll get into it, but like at the exact same time, I think that like, because it may not seem like it immediately, but I think that's okay to, you know, make up stuff for like an ongoing series. I get that, because sometimes great things can come from made up stuff that's not in the games or whatever the source material is. But I think that the 2007 one maybe could have reached in and brought back a couple of villains or monsters from the game, because I didn't really recognize anything. Maybe they were creatures from the game, but I didn't really recognize everything. I mean, the most important parts are there, like Dante, Lady, Trish. I'd rather see the 3 of them than just like, oh, look, the puppets from the beginning of Devil May Cry 1 that you kill endlessly, or the lava tarantula. The lava tarantula would have been cool too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just think that would have been a little cool, just a little bit more familiarity with it than less time with this little kid. And the little kid wasn't like the worst part, didn't really bring it down too much, but near the end the kid kind of comes back. I'm like, oh, okay, this is where we're at right now. But it's not, I still liked the show. If I saw it for a cheap price, I'd probably buy the Blu-ray of it, but I mean, I don't really feel the need to like go out of my way and get it, you know?
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones. I'm glad I finally sat down, watched the whole thing. I also think it's definitely worth watching, especially if you are a Devil May Cry fan. Like, I did enjoy it overall and everything like that. And if it just add a little bit more. I mean, I feel like at this point too, it's like it could have had maybe, you know, I don't know why Virgil's not really utilized on anything or whatnot, but
I guess if they were trying to keep it within canon, then I guess they think he's dead right now.
Oh, I guess that's true. Because
he technically doesn't.
Because he comes back in 4 though, so and 5 of course.
Does he come back in 4? I thought he only comes back in 5.
Well, maybe it's just 5 then.
Because 4 you killed the Pope.
4. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'm just thinking that like maybe he's like one of those goofy, once again like a goofy unlockable thing in like 4. You know, like just one of those like, hey, it's a fun thing. You can play as Virgil with his long samurai sword and you know whatnot. And because it's been.
Yeah.
As I said, other than Devil May Cry 1 and 3, I've never technically replayed any of the other ones.
Is he in 4? I'm gonna feel stupid if he is.
Maybe he's not. Maybe I'm just making this up.
He might be. The thing is, when you look up something like this, you'll get like 45 different independently made wikis by fans, you know? So I just go like, where am I looking at? You know, just like games, appearances. Oh, don't give me. Just give me the list of the games. I don't need the whole thing. Okay.
That's why I skip. I skip that internet part and just go straight to like the AI, and the AI just says technically Virgil's not a playable character in number 4, but he does appear in later versions through indirect references. So apparently there's like in the special edition.
Yeah, Devil May Cry.
There we go. That's where I'm getting confused. He's a playable character in the special edition one. Okay, that's
Devil May Cry. That's what it was. Okay, all right, cool. It's awesome.
So yeah, that happens. See, that's the stuff that throws me off. Is the stupid it's just the same thing with Trish. Like I kept thinking Trish was like the other character in 2, but it's like, oh no, she's just unlockable. That's all.
It's usually just Dante most of the time, and then like Lucia in 2, and then Dante and Nero in Devil May Cry 4, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, and then 5 is kind of cool because it lets you play as I think it's literally 5 characters, because you play as Dante, Nero, Virgil, Lady, Trish, and the nerdy guy of the book or whatever.
Oh, okay, cool. I really
you just like summon shit. So you literally just, if I remember correctly, you just go through the entire level tapping the living daylights out of triangle and square until your thumb's about ready to fall off. But you pretty much just murder everything in your path.
Okay, it's kind of just a power trip kind of.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. If you ever see that game because it goes on sale, like I want to say actually they're all on sale right now because of the TV show being out for like $5 or something like that, like stupidly cheap. Like I think you could almost get all like the entire collection for under $20. Like Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3, 4, DMC, and 5 for like. Yeah, like one of those ones. There's always those ones where I see those prices. I go, boy, that's a great price. Too bad I bought those when they came out.
if only
I can't get a deal like that good. Well, I guess I've rented Devil May Cry 5, so take that back. But
if only I waited 20 years.
Yeah, well, it's one of those ones I don't care that much to wait that long. But it's not like some games where you're like, cool, like I bought that game, then like 1 year later it's like Injustice or something like that. Cool, you paid $100 for that game. Well, guess what? In like a year or so, it'll be $4.99 for the Ultimate Edition.
Okay, I mean not Devil May Cry 1, but yeah, Devil May Cry. That's a good point. Devil May Cry 5. Okay, better example, but yeah.
But speaking of Devil May Cry, I guess going into the new Netflix kind of spin-off show or whatever the heck you want to call it, it's an interesting one. That's all I have to kind of say.
Well, that's Spencer I didn't like it that much, but I thought some things were kind of cool. Which
that sums it up. If that was the quote on the back of the VHS, well, I don't know why I said VHS, on the back of like the DVD case, Blu-ray, whatever. That's sort of how I felt. Like it was one of those ones. I was like, the animation, it was neat. The action was cool when it was there. I don't know. I kind of walked away with a lot of mixed feelings on that show.
I'll be 100% honest, and I'll say this. I know I have a tendency to like really glaze something when I first see it, and then like a year goes by, I'm like, it was okay. But right now, I really liked it. I know it's not coming from like a Devil May Cry purist or anything, but I really liked it because even though I know in some cases it really breaks things with certain lore, it really dives deep into the toy box, which things about that I didn't even know about. I actually had to see a few videos on, like, oh, that's actually from something. Okay. And it also, it does, I'm not sure you'd say it does deconstruction, but it does some interesting kind of like flashback kind of parallels, the things that would like, I'm not sure if how to put it exactly, but it's almost using the time it came out is like what if like, because when Devil May Cry first came out, it was just kind of like it's its own thing, it's its own world, don't worry about it. Where now it's kind of like, oh, what if it kind of took place during roughly more or less the time it came out, like in 2001, even though I'm not sure this is strictly meant to be 2001, but it kind of gave that vibe. The only thing that made me think that it might not be 2001 is there's a guy doing like an internet show at some point. But beyond that, I don't remember seeing smartphones. I don't remember seeing a whole lot of like modern slang throughout it. But maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's meant to be kind of vague. And I thought that was really interesting just because it's like picking pieces, things you didn't want to initially expect. Some things I didn't even know were there because the rabbit is actually a villain in the manga.
Oh, interesting. Well, because the other thing too, I kind of forgot, is the other show is based off the manga as well too. The 2007 one.
Oh, okay. Enzo is a guy who he looks different, but he's a short, fat guy in that too. Enzo, he looks more like a rockabilly in the manga, but Enzo is a guy in one of the mangas.
Apparently, he's from the novel.
Yeah, and apparently there's a light novel, and some of the like when they go in, we're rounding up bounty hunters or devil hunters. Every devil hunter they get. Lucia is one of them. You see, maybe they're saving her for like season 2 or something. But all those devil hunters are characters that were either in the manga or the light novel. So like it's kind of like using every part of the Buffalo. There is some characters that kind of make up. And plus the thing is the whole squad of the villains, it's not just like miscellaneous villains. They're all different bosses. And it has a ranging. There's the two Oni guys. They're from Devil May Cry 3. There's apparently the big demon looking, the big like dark black and red demon thing that flew around. I thought that was going to be Virgil from Devil May Cry 1 when he is in that other form, but it's actually somebody who you fight in Devil May Cry 5. There's the snake plant lady from Devil May Cry 4, and maybe there's one I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, the thing that could change shape. The blue thing, that's something you fight in Devil May Cry 1. So I thought that was cool that they're like, yeah, we're actually going to, rather than just have some like make characters up, we're actually going to reach in and give them actual personalities too. So, and make them like, I think that's a better way to do it. Like give the bosses something more than just like a scene, you know?
Yeah, no. I did think that was kind of neat how they did like put a bunch of stuff in there. It's like, oh, okay, there is some deep cuts in here, and they're actually using a lot of source material and so on. I guess for me and this is what I always feel about mostly all Netflix like shows that I've generally watched, maybe excluding that Scott Pilgrim one, is where I feel like they just drag though, because there's so much long, like, cause each episode's like literally 10 minutes longer than the 2007 show, but the extra 10 minutes is not like you feel like it's needed. It just feels like it's there to like take some time. And then at the same time is because it's not episodic, it's like, this takes place in 8 episodes, but let's be honest, it's more like 12 or 13 episodes. And then the fact that, I don't know, it comes across as like, if this was a straight up like a DCU animated movie length, even maybe 2 of them, I think I could be like, yeah, I'd be totally fine. But I felt like, I don't know what it is, but it was about like 4 or 5 episodes into it. I was just like, okay, we just got to chug this thing through now. It's just like, let's go. Like, I mean, I don't know, because even Dante, he's like, Dante's in it, but he's barely in the show. Like, he's there, and then lots of times
barely in the show.
He keeps getting tied up. Like, every single time, it's like, oh, cool, and then he finally breaks free, and then, like, next thing you know, he's tied up again. You're like, what the heck's going on? It's like, your main character's here. He's there, but, like, he's not... I don't know, I felt like he was not being utilized a whole lot until the very end.
I feel like there's a minute like in the middle where they take him off, but it's not really the whole. There's an episode he's not in at all, and that's the flashback episode. But
yeah, that was the episode. I literally just almost had to fast forward. I was like, God, this was like.
I really like that episode a lot. I really like that episode.
I guess because I didn't like the way that the way that Lady was sort of in this show, because she was kind of the dick swinging like tough girl, or like I gotta swear every third line, you know what I mean? And I'm the toughest one here. And it's like okay, pump the brakes on that a little bit.
Here's the thing: if I have one major complaint about the show, it's Lady, and I don't have a problem with her being the biggest biggest badass in the room. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with them writing her kind of like irony poisoned, like intentionally cheesy, swearing every other word.
Yeah,
that was a bit
it's
much.
super racist too. Super racist. She starts off and they're like, "There's no such thing as a good demon. Only good demon's a dead demon."
Well, that's when she has a character arc. That's the thing. She starts off more or less the same way in Devil May Cry 3.
They don't
have her written like she's like a.
She's not just fucking like dick swinging the whole time.
Yeah. She has literally the same arc as she does in Devil May Cry 3. Even the whole thing with her father, and this makes it look like her father's dead, but it wouldn't surprise me if her father is somehow alive for a later season or something. But the only problem the only big problem I have with the show is just, I think that, because I really like her backstory, and the episode where it's her and the origin of the rabbit, that's probably my favorite episode in all honesty, because I thought it was just really well done, and I think it really illustrated both their points, and you would totally walk away getting why they would both land where they do. But the Red Lady and majority of the show is talking, like when she first comes in and she swears a few times, like it's okay, whatever. Like when she first comes in and she's like, there's the one bounty hunter on the team, and she's able to spot him as a demon, and she kind of just dresses him down, talks all this shit, and kills him off right there. Like, that's cool. But then after that, she's like, every fucking demon in this fucking city is gonna burn like motherfucking shit, fucking cunt, fuck. You're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
You know,
it's,
and then
it's tough girl persona that mostly is that's you're mostly covering up something.
which you could be covered. Because that, I mean, in all honesty, her personality, it's not that her personality is different, it's just the way she's written. And that's, I mean, that sounds like a lot. That sounds, I don't know how that sounds right there, but I mean, it's the dialogues they give her. And that's the thing I don't really like about this version season 2. But generally, though, I took it as Dante's still pretty much the main. I feel like they kind of like sort of split it between Dante and Lady to an extent. And there was a period where Dante's out of the game for like an episode and a half. But I feel like when he's in it, he's really in it. He's doing he's progressing the story. He's kind of learning a lot. I've been talking for a minute, but I do have other opinions about the world that takes place in. But I'll let you talk for a second.
Yeah, as I said, like there is good stuff about it. I'm not like I feels like I'm kind of going sort of negative on it. You know, I felt like I just wanted to like it a little bit more, especially after watching like the 2007 show and whatnot. But I think it's just I just come to the conclusion I really just don't think I like the style of modern TV. I think that's kind of it, because it's like that slow pace is kind of I always have such a hard time getting behind. But there's that, and then it sounds weird, but because it's not made like in a sense kind of like or it's sort of like almost somebody else kind of making it outside of Capcom and so on like that. I mean, technically you could say the same thing about the 2007 one, but is it has like that weird uncanny feel that like whenever like series get kind of made by like outside teams sometimes, where it's just like it's like they kind of get it, but then it's like they definitely get a lot of stuff, but then some stuff just feels a little bit like odd. Like I don't know, it's like even in Dante's personality, it's like whatnot. It's like okay, it's just. You know, it's like it's close, but I felt like there's just something that feels just slightly off. Even the tunes, I will say, is even though it's like, okay, I like Limp Bizkit and I like Rage Against the Machine and all that stuff, but like weirdly enough, when I look at Devil May Cry, I picture more actually darker music, like it would have a soundtrack more like Cradle of Filth, you know, or Children of Bodom, and more even like I'd say even more something like closer to like Slipknot than like kind of a mix mac of like a hard rock kind of era. It's like I know it's that doesn't sound like it's that radically different, but it just seems like because when there's like they play like fucking like Linkin Park in there, something like that, I'm like that feels kind of off.
They play Limp Bizkit for the opening. They play Rage Against the Machine, Guerrilla Radio, which I thought that was a really badass scene. The Guerrilla Radio.
Yeah, no, that scene's cool, and that's the one. I mean, maybe because I just like Rage so much. It's like Rage can fit in there. Rage was in Matrix.
Rage is one of my favorite bands. So
yeah, same here. So
you throw them into like you can throw them into like Sonic the Hedgehog. It'll be cool, you know. So
yeah.
you know, but like it'd be like
no,
yeah,
I know it was Papa Roach.
And Evanescence did an original song for it, and
like
that
the credits
was
or something like that.
That was it was the song that was during the episode that was all mostly silent until the end, to where the episode with the lady and the rabbit.
Oh, okay.
It plays in there somewhere, and then Green Day, American Idiot. So
yeah, and the Green Day one was the one I'm like, boy,
Green Day was
if this was 2005 and I saw that pop up in there, I would have like crucified this show like at that age, you know. And nowadays I'm like, okay, I don't mind Green Day or anything like that, but I felt like, ooh. Devil May Cry, Green Day. I'm like, ooh, I know the dude's Indian, so it's not like he's gonna have the same American, like, you know, growing up that like we would have had combined with like Devil May Cry and so on in that time period. So
I don't know if he grew up in the States or not, but at the exact same time, I get where they use Green Day for that scene, but it doesn't feel very Devil. It feels different than like I mean, even though I don't like most of the bands, I don't like Papa Roach, I don't like Limp Bizkit. I get why they're in there though.
Yeah, I mean, I see what they're doing. As I said, it's going with that kind of like how anime movies in like the 90s always did. Like, we're going to throw a hip, you know, young, you know, group of bands in there, you know, or like even like Street Fighter. It's got Alice in Chains and Rob Zombie and Korn.
Fishbone.
Yeah, Fishbone and so on like that. So I see what they're doing, like, in a sense, but it's just that kind where it's like close but no, it's like that kind where it's like those kind of people like, let's throw in some real heavy rock in there and be like, well, that's not the real heavy rock. You know, it's like that one that like, you know, when like you meet somebody and they're like, oh man, I like some really hard stuff, and then you kind of hear what it is, and it's like, I like Theory of Pain, man. Yeah, and you're like, ooh, yeah.
Puddle of mud.
Yeah, and that's I don't know what it is. It's like that one where it's like close but no cigar. Like as I said, I'll take the Rage, and I actually don't mind the Limp Bizkit as well too. Though the weirdest thing was they used the censored version of the Limp Bizkit song, which I think is bizarre because the rest of the shows, that was one of those things I was like, did they just bleep fuck? But then it says fuck throughout the entire rest of the show. It's like I hope that was just like
the version of the song.
Yeah, like one of those. We bought a Walmart copy CD.
So, regarding the music, so here's the thing I'll defend on the music, even though I don't like majority of the bands they're playing, because I don't like Limp Bizkit, I don't like Punk Roach, I don't care about Evanescence. I like Green Day to a point, and I love Rage.
If they put like a Dookie song on there, I think it would have changed it.
Yeah, like Dookie, and even American Idiot's not even like a bad album.
No,
it's just in hindsight, it's not really a bad album. It's just like, I don't think, even though I was playing Devil May Cry at that time, I just don't think Devil May Cry when I play that. But however, though, when it comes to the rest of the music choices, I get exactly what they're doing, because they're playing songs that would have been popular around the time Devil May Cry was out. And if you think back on like early internet, a lot of like anime AMVs were like Limp Bizkit, Drowning Pool, Papa Roach, Rage. So this kind of knows what it's doing in that way. Maybe it's choice, maybe it's an interesting choice, but I do see the connective tissue. It doesn't seem like some out of touch person. Like, we gotta get the kids. We gotta get that Gen Z audience. What are the Gen Z kids like? They like the Papa Roaches. They like the Evanescence. You get them back in. I don't think it's that. It's clearly it's a dude who grew up at this time, who probably played these video games and had his own little like video game play mix he had while he was playing it. Because I know, because I would do something similar sometimes. I would have my own little video game playlist or an album I'd listen to for certain games. Sometimes I was just fucking little cringy little like nerd, but so I can kind of see them doing that for this. And also the other thing about this is the thing that's probably a little more ballsier choice of the show, but I think it works for it. Actually, let me go back to one little thing real quick, because there's one thing that this show does which generally bothers me, but in the case of this particular version, I think it's okay. As we said earlier, Devil May Cry takes place in somewhat dystopian world. Like, there's still a functioning society to a certain extent, but it's a dystopian world, more or less. And it's like, we don't go out this area because demons show up, or we don't go out at night because demons appear a lot more, something to that effect, Where this is very much our world, but demons. It's still a little bit of a heightened world, because like the president is like a gay, like fat, like
Southern
cowboy. He's like, oh my God, I gotta deal with demons. Last guy before me, all he had to deal with that Saddam Hussein guy, and I got demons now. No, so he's like this big fat cowboy. So it's like, there is like a level of, plus you also, I think, I didn't hear anybody mention this, but I feel like the Dark Com, like the demon killing squad, I feel like they're modeled after that. Like, I don't know his name. He's playable in Marvel vs. Capcom. That Commando guy.
Captain Commando.
I thought I got the name wrong. Captain Commando. I'm like, no, it's called Captain Commando. I thought they looked like Captain Commando, and I feel like that was like intentional to make a Capcom reference.
That actually, I didn't think about that, but that actually kind of makes more sense. And now that you mentioned that, I actually like that more, because that was one of the things that bothered me. I'm like, why is Lady not in her traditional outfit the whole time? Like, I kept thinking that, but if you say that, like, no, that's kind of right, because there is a lot of references throughout this thing. I mean, they even mentioned like there's the part where they look like the Captain Commando, or at least the main.
They look like Captain Commando. I'm looking at it now. They look like Captain Commando. They have Captain Commando action figures. I would not have guessed that. But they have
for one video game, pretty much. I think it's just a beat 'em. That's the only thing I can think of. There's just a beat 'em up game back in like '92. It's like it.
Yeah, they have Captain Commando action figures. Good for him. Well, I guess it's probably more of just like from Marvel vs. Capcom, keeping him around. But I think because they look like him. They have like a Mega Man bobblehead. I don't think it's meant to take place in the same world, but they have the obvious like Raccoon City joke in there at some point. So I think they're trying to like just sprinkle on all the, and then at some point there's like a Street Fighter arcade cabinet. So I think they're just trying to make all the Capcom references as possible.
Yeah, because I think it's supposed to have that sort of, in a sense, like, like a little bit of a fourth wall kind of winking type stuff.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so anyway, I derailed myself twice there. Sorry. The thing is, usually I don't like it when video games do, when movies do this, when they like, we got to make it more realistic or more grounded, because the whole thing is like, it takes place in like our world more or less, and every so often demons slip through. Now, I don't really understand what the context is, like, because in the games, that plot point of like keeping the demon realm from merging with our realm pops up a couple of times, but at the exact same time, like the world already looks pretty fucked, but maybe it's going to get even more fucked if the demons come through. So, or if the worlds completely merge or whatever. So this one right here did do a little bit of that thing of like, it's going to start off as something we don't know, and by the end, it's the thing you do know. And that kind of philosophy for like an IP kind of annoys me, but I feel like there's enough recognizability in everything else to kind of keep it going. And I think the plot about the whole Iraq war refugee kind of comparison to this really kind of helped amplify it and really helped to make it stand up a bit more. And that kind of makes it, and I imagine by the end of season 2 or whatever, we're going to see the worlds merge, or at least maybe not completely merge, at least get more fucked up so everything resembles the games more. But at the exact same time, I do like the like generally that philosophy in when trying to make a IP like adaptation, I don't like, but I think for this it worked.
Yeah, no. I could kind of see where, because I said like the locations aren't really bad and all that. It's weird. It's like, when the stuff's good in it, I do like it. As I said, I think the action and the animation, like when it does finally happen, it is really cool. There is some cool stuff there, and even the locations and stuff like that too. Like, yeah, they're trying to just make it feel like it's this kind of weird, like, because it almost feels like it's supposed to be give or take 2005. Like, I was always trying to figure out exactly like, okay, what is this? But I feel like it's more like it's sort of a retelling of just all the Devil May Cry's kind of mixed together in that mid 2000s era. It's not like if it was like Devil May Cry 3, which I guess is a prequel, which means that game takes place in like 97 or something like that. If you think about it, maybe even earlier, like 95. Mm-hmm. Yes, it sounds strange to like think of it like that, but it's like, well, they're younger in that one, so that if 2001 is Devil May Cry 1, then maybe that is what it is. But but yeah, it's like, so you do have that kind of there, and then you have the demon rabbit guy who's utilizing, the Alice in Wonderland kind of thing, and that guy's kind of okay. I don't know. I feel like it's one of those ones where it's like, I feel like I've seen that Alice in Wonderland thing used a little too much and stuff, and it's almost kind of like, pick another fairy tale out of anything like that. Like, I feel like, I don't get me wrong, like, I like Alice, the Madness Returns and all that kind of stuff. I like, in a sense, Mad Hatter and Batman. That's like one of those weird ones where, like, that character should seem strange, but maybe because he's been there forever, that, like, it doesn't feel out of place, But what I really think it is I think because Alice in Wonderland turned into, like, public domain so early on, is that's why people utilize it all the time.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, Alice in Wonderland, I never really gave a shit, and I'll be honest, I don't even really like Mad Hatter that much. Like, if they put him in something, okay. I mean, if they've been putting Batman Mad Hatter, if they use him for a villain finally, I'm like, okay. I'm like,
be that guy watching Alice in Wonderland movie, get that fucking Mad Hatter out of here.
I don't know. It's not even that Alice in Wonderland is like all that bad. I think it just like cringy like kids in high school kind of ruined it for me. Just being, I don't know. I just don't fucking. There's a million other fairy tales. I don't know. I don't get all the obsession with it. But at the exact same time, like it's kind of like, to go to this for a second. Not that it's bad, but like Wizard of Oz. People are so focused on Wizard of Oz, but that's like one book out of like 10 books. I never read those books. I don't know if they're any good. Maybe they suck. Maybe that's why they only stick to the one. I don't know. But there's like That's one book.
Only one had flying monkeys in it. Let's just be honest. That's all we're here for.
You got cut to the audience back in like 1938, like monkey.
Just a bunch of dock workers and everything showing up, fucking drinking and like hard drinking and whatnot like that. I had a 12-hour shift. Entertain me.
The singing fucking sucks, but I'll be worth it when I see those fucking monkeys come in and fuck shit up.
Yeah. When's that good witch gonna rip her shirt off?
Oh yeah, shit. I'll take the green one too.
Yeah, I ain't fucking picky.
Yeah. You seen my fucking wife? Oh.
Shit, I don't think one of those little fellas.
He's at the right height. I'll just say that.
But like Alice in Wonderland, like as I said, as a story itself, nothing wrong with it. I got no problem with it. But I just feel everybody wants to ape that, so much. And I mean, I will say, if we are using this Devil May Cry thing as like kind of trying to take that, if you're making it for, I guess, that like 13-year-old of, say, give or take 2003 or whatnot like that. Not gonna lie, that probably is a time period where that Alice in Wonderland gothic-y, mixture of gothic / emo thing. It's like she's like scantily clad, and there's like she's battling like demons and shit. But it's the tale bro. But like so much more like fucking hard and intense, like grindhousey, And they what the fuck were those called again?
So, sorry, the thing went out for a second, but I got the tail end of it.
What were those?
Like trashy grindhouse, like
the fairy tale comic books.
What
were they called?
It was by Zenescope. Zenescope was like a comic book company. They did it with every fairy tale.
And they were super popular in the 2000s.
I think it was just something Grimm Fairy Tales. I think Grimm Fairy Tales.
Maybe that's what they were called.
There was that. I had a friend who's really into them, and you'd look at the cover art, it looks like a pinup, and you're like, okay, cool. And you flip through it, and like, oh, it's just some edgy cringe shit, most of the time. Yeah,
just hardcore 13-year-old kind of stuff,
Yeah.
And as I said, nothing wrong with it if that's what you're into or something like that. But I feel like it's overused. I think that's just what I'm kind of getting at. You know what I mean? Like, I like American McGee's Alice games. I think that's kind of cool because at that time period, that was kind of like, oh, that's sort of different. You know what I mean? Here's the one that get dudes from Doom, making like this, dark, creepy Alice thing, that has a Marilyn Manson kind of feel. Cool, whatever. But by this point, I feel like we've seen so many other people just try to ape that throughout the years and so on like that. And then when I kind of saw it in this, I was like, oh, okay. And then I was kind of hoping like, well, maybe this guy will just be in it for a couple episodes. But it's like, no. They're doing the stupid series thing where it's going to be one long story. So if you don't really care for the story, guess what? That's the whole thing.
Well, at the end of the day, the rabbit, even though I'm talking about how Alice in Wonderland stuff annoys me, the rabbit didn't really bother me just because he wasn't doing like this, we're late for a very important date, or oh, did you have the tea? Oh, he's not making like all these stupid references throughout the whole time. He just happens to be a rabbit, and he says like we're going down the rabbit hole together like once or twice, something like that. And then he also like, okay, and that was like we learned that was his favorite book as a kid, and he Frankensteined himself into this thing. Like, okay, and he kind of gave me more of like, he was more emotional than this character, but he kind of gave me sort of Hans Gruber vibes. That I feel like that's kind of what they were going for, like Hans Gruber from Hell. Like if he had like political motivation rather than like financial motivation. So, and that's the thing that kind of stood out to me about him, because he was, if he was making Alice in Wonderland references the whole time, I'd be like, fuck. And even when I first saw the trailer for the show and I saw that rabbit, I was like, fuck, okay. I mean, you couldn't use Virgil. I mean, then you saw Virgil in the trailer. I'm like, okay, cool, Virgil is in it. And then like,
a boy.
No, but then they show in one of the trailers that you're like, okay, cool, he is in it. But then like, even one of those, like, not even a trailer, but like, here's a scene from the show. They show that, like, that scene where you think it's Virgil and ends up being the blue ship-shifting guy. Like that right there. I was like, oh, why did you? Okay. But then my mind said, chances are Virgil probably is going to be in it to some capacity. Otherwise, they wouldn't have just double faked him just now. And sure enough, he is at the end. He's the big tease for the end of the show. But at the same time, once we got to like the rabbit, like it didn't bother me once I saw his character and personality, because I thought his backstory was interesting, and he wasn't like doling out Alice in Wonderland references. And then I come to find out he actually is a villain in the manga, so it's not like somebody just felt like putting in their own thing. So like, so when I see that, like the only things that seemed like really original were like the vice president, voiced by Kevin Conroy, and
which I think was his last role or something like that.
Yeah, the vice presidents, really, and then like which that even that I think that kind of fits for a villain right there. You know, having him play kind of like chatted out like Dick Cheney, more or less. You know, though Dick Cheney was never a religious guy. This didn't seem like it, at least. But like
you know, maybe if there's real demons out there in the world, that, you know, that sort of changes everything.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is. Well, you know, I saw the light, literally. Look outside the window. There's a demon right there.
Well, he also has the thing that makes him scary, is like the character scary, is that he has that at first you're like, okay, because that when you're watching it, you're like, he is going to be actually a demon. He wants the apocalypse to happen. He's going to be a demon. Like, oh no, it's worse than he's a demon. He thinks he is God's divine instrument, and anything he does is justified for that. And that's like almost worse, or just about as bad. Mm-hmm. And you see, like, you know, like, oh, these are demons that are actually people just like one thing that this show does. I don't think it's bad. It's different, but I don't think it's bad. Maybe there is some kind of like afterlife connection to hell in this, but in this they just make it hell's a separate place, kind of more like what's that Paul W.S. Anderson movie, Advent Rising? No, that's the bad game. No, that's the bad video game.
Yeah, Event Horizon.
Event Horizon, yeah. Where it's just like, oh no, hell, or like Doom, like hell is just a parallel universe, and humans manage to somehow get there at some point, and they evolve differently. I'm like, all right, that's cool. What if we bombed the fuck out of them and like went to war with them, and literally demonizing the people there, you know? So I'm like, okay, I think that's, you know, and seeing as this thing came out in 2001, and majority of the games came out throughout those years, I think all the way up to Devil May Cry 4 to an extent, I think that's a fitting kind of allegory and undertone for this series. Even to the degree of like they're teasing the villain. They show him the opening scene, the opening credits or whatever, but they're teasing the villain from Devil May Cry 2. That like rich industrialist guy is there looking over some factory, draining resources from hell. So
yeah. No, I forgot about that, but that's a cool part there too. Yeah, no, the tie-in of kind of like the Iraq War kind of mixture into it is interesting. It does make the story a little bit black and white kind of feeling, in a sense, because as I said, like lady, like the way that they write her at first is just like, she's just like, and I know that's how she kind of is in the game, but the game feels a little bit more like balanced. At least it's there, but it's not like, you know, like, I mean, like the only good, you know, demon's a dead demon, and I don't care, none of them are real people. And then when she finds that family, when they have like that Judge Dredd scene, which I was like, man, this is really ripping off Dredd. And then when I looked it up, I'm like, oh, this dude is the guy who produced Dredd. So I guess if you produce Dredd, you can rip your own movie off. Because I was like, lady literally gets like stuck in like this like apartment complex, like in the hell town, whatever, that the rabbit has. And literally it's just like Dredd, where it's just like, oh shit, like all the guys are getting like kind of trapped, everyone's getting separated and whatnot. And you know, now, you know, she's kind of alone, and she like literally breaks in like this one apartment, and there's like, you know, of course there's like a demon family in there with like their kids and stuff. They're like, watch out for the kids. So she's like, they're not real kids, they're demons, you guys should all fucking die. She's like, dude, we just fucking saved you, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and at first I was just like, is she just gonna like exterminate all these guys right here? Like,
to be fair, she is on like some fear hallucination right there, combined with her past trauma.
Oh, I guess there is that. Oh yeah, the past trauma thing. But
well, I'm just saying, the past trauma, I'm not saying that's the excuse for everything. I'm just saying she has the past trauma combined with the fear hallucination she has from the gas or whatever it was.
Yeah, so there's a little bit much there, but yeah, it still just felt like one of those ones that's be like,
past trauma, fucking character development, fucking past trauma.
That was the episode that I almost had to fast forward through, because I was like, oh, this is so slow, dumb, and boring.
I liked that one. I thought that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, we're going into this kind of crap. I'm like, I'm like, skip. I just looked at like, yep, okay, battle's there, okay, that's the rabbit, okay, and next episode.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought that one was good. I thought it was just kind of like interesting seeing it come from like this, the thing with the rabbit. You say you think it makes it more black and white. I think it still makes it pretty. I think the good guys are obviously black and white but at the exact same time, I feel like it's doing this thing where it's acknowledging there's good and bad on both sides, something that the games have been doing from the get-go. Because in Devil May Cry 4, you're literally killing the Pope. The Pope's the bad guy, and you are a demon, and everyone turns on you the second they find out you're a demon. And then it just like you have to fight not only devils in that game, but you fight angels in that game too. So I think that, at least I remember you fight angels at some point, maybe something like that. And then even Devil May Cry 3 hits on that with the whole lady part, which this comes into play too. I think the whole thing with, I think it's the point with the rabbit is it's just really a villain story where lady, she starts off kind of just coping through her own drama, her own trauma. And, kind of like, because with the kid, with the rabbit guy, when he was a kid, he was obsessed with Alice in Wonderland. That was his escape. And then when he kind of like burns the book, I'm done with this. I'm done with playing around. And then when shit goes really bad, he returns to it and he puts on the rabbit outfit or sews it to his face rather. And then when we get to Lady, she loved horror movies and she loved playing demon monsters. And then a demon literally took her family. And then she's like, well, this is what I'm going to become a demon hunter now. So I like the parallel of both of them leading that way. And one of them is able to like kind of learn from their mistakes. The other goes the wrong way because the rabbit seems like a very genuinely good person to a point where he's just like, we're going to lose people no matter what. So we're going to start experimenting on fuckers. And if they get in the way, they get in the way. We got to kill them if they do that. Like, it still seems like he is still like, like road to hell, paved with good intentions, that kind of thing. No pun intended, but like that with the character. And then at the end, he's literally like, it's more about revenge by this point than it is altruistic things. And I just think that's kind of like the president, the vice president is a human, but he's doing more evil shit than most of the demons in the show. So it's kind of like, it's something that's carries out through all of Devil May Cry, even the first anime, or the actual anime, not this.
Yeah, no, not this one, but yeah, as I said, it's weird. It's like this, like fine line that I feel like it's like one of those ones where it goes over just a little bit where it's just like, I just kind of, I don't know what it is. Like, it just, to me, it misses the mark. I'm not going to say that, it's not like, I'm not saying it's bad because, obviously people like this kind of style in general. I think it's just, for me, it's just one of those ones that's just like, something just feels off the whole time I'm watching this. And, when there's cool action, it's good. Dante himself isn't too bad. He has some kind of dumb lines in there, like,
Skeletor part or whatever.
Yeah, and then there's a little bit of kind of like try to wink nod, like, reference type stuff where it's like, okay, like, I don't mind the Capcom referencing, but yeah, some of the stuff is like, okay, yeah, we're trying to have that pop culture stuff, whatever. I just love that kind of bypass. I know that's one of those ones where so I think that's the thing. It works good on certain people and doesn't work on other people, so it's kind of a mixed bag, but
other people, like, you're pointing to like this side of the screen. Other people, but some people are simple-minded that way. Yeah.
No, it's like one of the ones that's like, I don't know. I just couldn't really get behind it the whole time. I think it's just the pacing. It's that thing about is why I think I have a hard time with television, especially nowadays. It's because cartoons are made like they're live action shows where they drag a little bit more. As I said, I picture like if this was just a straight up like an hour and a half movie, like it was a DCU one. I almost feel like I would have actually really, really liked it a lot because it would have just got right to the point. You could have captured all like the main beats and so on like that, or even if it was two movies. I'll even say a part one and a part two. Even, I think I would have, but like I just felt like, yeah, gosh, you drug, and then I just once the thing starts to get like very drama-y and emotion-y and like whatnot, it's like, what is this kind of crap here? You know what I mean? I don't mind a little bit of that, but like it's like one of those ones like it
was jam-packed with it. I know there's an episode dedicated to it, but I thought that episode was well done. I don't know. It's like the drama I didn't think was so bad. Even Devil May Cry has a lot of the melodrama in it sometimes.
Yeah, it has. I mean, there's even like there's that one dude who's like the black Johnny Bravo. I don't know what else to kind of describe, but he has literally like Johnny Bravo hair, and he's like, "Oh man, my kids," and everything like that. And he's like kind of like wussing out in the corner and so on. And then it turns out he's a bad guy. I'm like, good, that guy's gonna fucking die. Like that guy's been kind of in the way this whole time. Like, you know what I mean? Like I knew something was up with that guy because he kind of was like fucking up the whole time. And you're like, you think he's just kind of like this rookie guy, but then it's like, oh no, he's this demon thing. He's the turncoat character.
He could. They left it open ended. He could be alive. When you get shot and you just fall out of a helicopter into like water, that's leaving the door open. If you,
movie wise, you don't die from that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think that I do. Even though I really did like the show, like it's not like a favorite show. Even though I really did like it, I do think that it's this probably just because it takes place over the course of like a day or a day and a half. So it really probably could, just in that kind of timeline, this really could have been maybe like a 2-hour movie, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It even feels kind of like it could have been a 2-hour movie. I mean, and that's not me saying that everything sucks about it, because even the stuff they filled in, I still really enjoyed. Aside, my only real problems with it is just kind of like Lady's dialogue. She was really kind of cheesy. I guess there's a minute where they do take Dante out of it for a little while, but he's still there throughout the whole series doing cool Dante shit, and he still acts like Dante. I do think it's kind of weird. They got the guy that voiced Nero to voice Dante. I do think it's a little weird.
Well, that is good. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, and I do think that Dante keeps getting tied up, which just seems so weird. Like, why does Dante keep getting tied up like in this story, like multiple times?
I do see this series. I do think they have plans for the series for it to be. I could see because by the end of this episode, they do a couple of like season 2 sequel baity kind of things, which is like, okay, I really like it. I hope you get renewed, but there's no guarantee. I don't know if it's renewed yet. I haven't looked it up.
I think it already is. I think I saw that pop up because the show has really high ratings. So
okay, good. So it is renewed then. I was gonna say, because it does the thing where it does end on a cliffhanger, where I think I prefer it if a season doesn't end just on a cliffhanger. We conclude our story and we have ties. We have like, we have like loose ends we still got to tie up, but for season 2, that's kind of what I prefer. I don't prefer the cliffhanger ending where Dante gets captured and we invade hell. I think they could have like, we invade hell, but Dante and Lady are working together, so we don't have to do the whole like prison escape thing at the beginning of season 2 or whatever they're going to do. At the same time, though, it kind of moved pretty fast for me, and I had a day to myself, and I just managed to. I was working on my own comic, coloring it in, and I would just binge this while watching it. So while working on the comic, so. I really enjoyed it that way. But yeah, I do think that at the end of the day, this probably could have been like a 2-hour movie, but
Yeah, because that's how I felt. I felt like I just had to sort of chug through it like every single day, like an episode. It was like one of those ones where it's just like, I don't know, just like that 30-minute length is almost just a little too long for an animation because it just, I don't know what it is. It's just it's just like how live action at like an hour is just like that's like too long. It it gives like this extra 15 minutes of drag time that never used to exist, And I'm not saying that there's not shows back in the day that don't drag, but I don't know what it is. It's just like it's just that, but it's the same way I felt about like even when I watched that Tomb Raider one, like whatever 6 months ago, just because I like Tomb Raider so much, and it was the same thing. You walk out like, not bad. There's some stuff they get. There's some, but I almost just wish they would kind of go back to the days of just the straight to video type things. Like what they did with like Turok and so on like that. Like I like those ones where it's just like here's a one and done movie real quick. Maybe we'll do another one. I feel like that would work better for Devil May Cry, especially for this story. I just didn't think there was enough content in there to make it fucking like whatever it is, 8.5 hours long or whatnot. I mean, that's with credits. And
it was like 4 episodes. It was like 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah, it was because each one's about half an hour, give or take. So, yeah, it's just one of those ones I just felt like it just kind of, it's the same way because it comes from the same dude who made the Castlevania stuff, and that was one of those ones.
Castlevania dragged. I won't deny Castlevania.
That one lost me. It was like, I remember it started off because I think the first episode was only like 4 episodes long, so I think that's why it was like, oh, the first one's pretty good. It's, and then it's like the second one's like, well, okay, it's not bad, but they're starting to drag, and it's getting this weird kind of Game of Thronesy kind of turncoat shit going. And then I remember like by the third one, I'm like, Castlevania is my favorite game series. I don't think I can watch this anymore. It's like it's just that bad.
Well, season 3 was also one of those things because Castlevania season 1 was good. It was like too short, but it was good. Season 2, pretty good, but they spent a little bit more. That was one of those things like they spent a lot of time in this library, but it's not like it's. But the action is good, and the thing with Alucard and his father was Dracula was good, so you kind of forgive it. Season 3 dragged. It really did drag. But there was some really fantastic moments and fantastic scenes in season 3. I don't remember all the details. I remember season 4 actually being really good and learning from season 3's mistakes. I remember that. Still probably had senses of that Game of Thrones-iness to it, but yeah, season 4 was pretty good. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a Castlevania fan, so I don't really know what's accurate, what's not. I didn't see the second season of Castlevania Nocturne, but Nocturne season 1 was pretty good, and it doesn't do the Game of Thrones things. They are kind of in the same location as during the French Revolution, but it's like they're not doing the whole like backstabby shit the whole time. Maybe there is some betrayal, but it's not like all these different vampires conspiring against each other or anything like that the whole time.
Yeah.
At least season 1's not. I don't know what season 2 is.
I almost wouldn't mind giving that one kind of a go, and that second whatever version of the show, because I kind of like the way the.
If you didn't like this, you probably won't like that. I'll say. If you didn't like this, because this is more snappy and to the point.
I feel like I'm almost at that point where I'm like, I just one of those ones. I watch all these, like, whenever I do watch any of these new shows, I just come to conclusions like, as I said, they're not bad, but they're just not good enough that makes me feel like, if we weren't doing a podcast on this, I think I would have only watched like 1 or 2 episodes of Devil May Cry, and I would have been like, yep, I'm done. I'm out of here, because it's just, I don't know, it's like, I just, like, where it's like the original show, the 2007 one, I was into that one. I look forward to watching the next episode and so on like that. Like, and I think because each one's episodic, so even if you get an episode that's kind of a little bit off, it's like, that's okay, because guess what? Dante's going to be doing something new, next time. Where this one, it's like, as I said, once I kind of go, I don't really care for it, it's like, well, guess what? That's all it is. We're not changing it for you. You know what I mean? You get one story. That's it. It's just going to be a really long-ass story.
I think it's just what things are now. I know you're not the biggest fan of it, but I think things are more... I mean, one of my favorite shows has, Cowboy Bebop is a little bit more episodic, but then it has like underlying themes and the information that builds up and leads to connected final end, like midway point and final ending, final showdown. But like at the same time, this is like most shows are just continual. Even comedies in a lot of shows are kind of continual now. So I guess if you're just wanting something more episodic, and I'll be honest, not to drive a wedge, but I prefer this one over the 2007 one. I'm just what can I say? I prefer this one. I do like the world 2007 one takes place in, that already pre-existing like devil-ridden world. I'm a little irritated. Not irritated is the wrong word. Nothing that strong, but I am a little bit of kind of like, okay, the world becomes fucked up and demon overran by the end of season 1. And then they stop it. I'm like, okay, all right. It was just kind of like, I do like the concept of America going to war with hell. I do like that. And maybe that's that kind of saved it for me, that ending. But I'm hoping by the end of season 2, like maybe we don't completely merge hell and earth together, but we have a thing where it becomes more recognizable as the world from Devil May Cry. So
yeah, it becomes a little bit more that, and I think that's kind of what it is, because this one's supposed to be just that total, like, this is the start. Demons are a brand new concept. Even Dante doesn't really know he's a demon. You know what I mean? Like, here it is.
And I think the show plans on going on for a minute, or at least, just because if you look at all the weapons, like all the swords in the ground at the beginning when they're playing Limp Bizkit, like, okay, there's a couple of obvious ones. There's I can't tell you every single weapon you get in Devil May Cry, but you see Dante's main weapon, you see Virgil's katana, but then in there you see Nero's sword. The reason I recognize Nero's sword is because I remember that was a cool concept. It looks like it's funny coming from someone who talks shit on bikers, but like it had like the motorcycle kind of like you kind of rev it up, and it had the brake, like kind of like something to like a little clutch on it, and you see that sword right stabbed in there somewhere. So and then they even tease at the end of, I mean, they tease I forgot his name, but the evil industrial billionaire from Devil May Cry 2, they tease him in the opening credits somewhere, and he's obviously in it's going to be season 2. So I do think they are going to be reaching into the toy box and grabbing things you don't under. They even go to the diner. They pull the waitress from the 2007 anime and plop her in here. So
yeah, I kind of wish they went back to that though, because she's only in it for like a brief. I felt like she was there for just a trailer moment, realistically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, they never go back there, but it is kind of cool that it is there for a second. And this is one thing I'll say about both shows, though. I do kind of wish that, and this is kind of a negative on each one, they don't use any of Dante's other weapons, even in like the 2007 one, because I always think it's like, okay, yeah, cool, the double pistols is neat and the sword and everything like that, but like I always thought the shotgun that like Dante like spin rotates is so much cooler than the pistols. You know,
the ice nunchucks.
Yeah, the ice nunchucks. I was thinking about that too. Like, I just kind of wish it's like, can't you just give him a couple other weapons? I don't even care if he just picks up something random almost and like uses it like Jackie Chan style. Like it just happens to be there, but he can still use it like a weapon. That would be kind of cool.
I'm not sure if this is something from the manga or not, but I do feel like because his guns are called Ebony and Ivory. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like they're going to make that kind of a plot point in season 2 because he keeps on having guns. I do like the idea of somebody who uses up guns. He uses them so frequently they break. He just grabs a new gun that's laying around like in a pizza box. I like the concept of that, but at the same time, I do feel like sometimes you just have the guns. But I think like what they're going to do with it is he's going to get these special crafted, masterfully crafted guns that don't run out of ammo. You know, they have like magic, like infinite casing, something kind of like, I'm guessing they're going to do something kind of like that to make, which isn't bad. But at the same time, I think they could just have the thing. Like they don't need to have infinite, you don't have to have the plot point of they have infinite ammo or something like that. But I have a feeling it's going to be something kind of like that, you know?
Yeah, well, that's what it should just be. It should just be he gets some kind of magic guns that have infinite ammo. This makes sense for like the game and everything like that, you know. But I would like to see him have the shotgun, the Magnum, or any of the other guns too, just because. I feel like to me when I think of Devil May Cry, I think of all the different weapons, but it feels like people putting these shows together only think of the double pistols and the sword. It's like there's more than that.
Yeah. Or at some point he has like a scythe too. You know, he has a bunch of different weapons. So there's also, I mean, they hint at it. There is like a point where I want to say, in Devil May Cry 3, you have different like styles, like fighting styles to choose from. You can mix those up with the weapons. There's like, I don't remember if it's called Speedster or Trickster, but there's a little dash one where you can like go in and sock things. I don't remember if it was 3.
Oh yeah, where you can literally punch stuff.
Yeah, there's a few points where he's zip zapping around and like socking like those demons, like the Oni demons. And I don't remember if he does it with his bare fist in one of the games. I know at least a couple of games he has like gauntlets, but yeah. I don't remember if one of the games he does it bare fisted or not. But yeah.
Yeah, no, well, I know there is the gauntlets for sure. I don't know if there's bare fisted, but I think you do get the cool gauntlets and so on. But yeah,
Sounds like Devil May Cry 3 weapon if I think about it though. But yeah,
I definitely think it is. I think it is 3 that has that. But because I know that's the one that has all the styles in it too, where you could change and so on from Speedster, Trickster, and whatever the other one was. I think it was 3 different ones. But yeah, it'd be cool just to add a little bit more of that there. As I said, it's one of those ones like, if there's a second season of this, which it sounds like there's going to be, I don't know. As I said, I hate to start saying, I just feel like, I'm not saying they're necessarily bad. It's just they're not really, this type of storytelling is just not for me. I feel like it's one of those ones, like I've watched too many shows like in this kind of era, and it's just like, it's just not for me. I guess I like episodic. I kind of like the old way of a show, in a sense, which is like, here's a one and done story, and there's little things that connect throughout it, but we don't have to make it like, oh, if you didn't see it from the beginning, well, guess what? Like, tough luck. You know, that was like what I always used to think about, like Arrow. Like, if you turned on an episode like season 4 halfway through, I'd be like, if somebody just walked into this, they would be so fucking confused on what the hell is this thing about. Even if they knew Green Arrow from the comics, they would still be so confused on what is going on here.
Well, I guess people are at the point like, well, you know what? Everything's streaming now. So if you're confused, you just start at the beginning at your time, whenever you want. But this, at the same time, though, I don't know. It's like, I do agree that, like, here's another thing, and this isn't me trying to shame you. Like, think of the old days. You should be goddamn grateful. Don't take it as that. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Or, you know, if you're not as into it as much, you're not as into it as much. But, like, I do feel like if this did come out in 2002 or 2003, we'd be like, dude, like a movie of this or whatever. I think we would be like, bro, they fucking did, you know, because I'm not going to lie, being a kid growing up in this time, because believe it or not, even though I talk all this shit on it now, there was a point where I owned Papa Roach's first album. I was learning. I didn't know what good shit was yet, so I was learning, you know. There was a point where I never really liked Limp Bizkit. I never liked, Papa Roach, yeah.
You know what's the strangest thing is, I'm going to say this about Limp Bizkit. When I was a kid, I did not like Limp Bizkit. I could not understand why anybody really did. Ironically, nowadays, I actually really like Limp Bizkit because it gives me this weird nostalgic flashback to like the 90s and 2000s without being like, but the fact I didn't really listen to it is just like, oh, it reminds me of just like you would hear it in the background or somebody would be playing this, you know, and something like that. Like it's this weird, like it time travels me back. And so I like it in a weird way. And I feel like I can kind of understand it differently than when I was a kid. It would be like, Limp Bizkit, why don't you guys listen to Rolling Stones or something, which probably sound like the most old man fucking opinion of like a 12-year-old.
No, see, here's the thing. When I get nostalgic, 'cause there's stuff I liked then that I don't like now. Like I liked Breaking Benjamin when they first came out, you know. But at the same time, though, when I get nostalgic for like 2001 or 2002, I think of like the Jet Grind Radio soundtrack, or I think of like, or just say Dreamcast generally. So just
the Tony Hawk soundtrack. You could almost
Tony Hawk soundtrack, you know, Incubus. You know, like even Rage, because Rage was popular around then still, you know.
And Rage is on the Tony Hawk 2 soundtrack, so.
Yeah. Or even like Audio Slave, because Audio Slave, I think their first album came out in 2002 or 2000, somewhere between, it's weird, I should know this, but somewhere between 2001 and 2003, somewhere between there, I should know that. I think 2001, actually. But
I think it's 2001, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I get nostalgic for, like, more of that than this in particular, but I would have been because there's a point when I was young, I think when we were younger, now it seems like it kind of gets in the way, but there was a point where like if something you liked, like say had like a licensed music soundtrack, it would feel more legitimized. Like when Tekken, I think actually I like this one, but when the Tekken soundtrack came out, it had like, you know, like it had like Stabbing Westward and Offspring and whatever, you know. It felt like that legitimized it to some extent when like, and I'm actually not using the best examples because I'm picking examples I like, but like when Funimation put out like put out like second wave Dragon Ball movie. So like this one has Pantera, this one has like the Deftones, and then a bunch of shit you don't know. Like, oh, you know, so it's like one of those things, like it felt like it legitimized it. So knowing that we're, you know, that there's like a Devil May Cry, not anime, but something trying to be an anime, pretending to be an anime, and it has like Rage, and they're like probably one of the best scenes is the Rage Against the Machine scene for me personally.
And that's a really good. I will say this. I really like that scene a lot because I'll say this: when the action's good, it is really good. I'm not going to deny that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they're playing like Rage, they're playing like, and even though I don't like Papa Roach, I thought they used Papa Roach well in the whole like freeway chase.
Scene. Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things like I feel like I got what they were doing. I didn't agree with all of it, but I agreed with most of it on how to approach it. And I look forward to season 2. Sorry, I know I was the one that suggested we do this because I got like 2 episodes in. I texted you, and then like you're like, not for me. I'm like, Sorry, here we are. So sorry, I twisted.
It's okay.
Your
So sometimes it's like one of those ones. It's like I like to sometimes just kind of know, if anything, you know. Sometimes I wonder, maybe this is gonna be the one. Like that's how I keep thinking. Every once in a while, when there's a new show out, I'm like, you know, because there's a lot of things I've sort of written off by this point. It's like Star Wars movie or TV shows. I'm like, I just don't even care anymore. If it's not George Lucas making it, I could give a flying fuck. You know, I'm at that point. You know, so it's like, but every once in a while there's some stuff like this where it's like, well, you know, I haven't liked TV in a long time, but once in a blue moon, maybe they can do it right, you know, and that's what I kind of hope for, you know. And like Ash versus Evil Dead was probably the last thing I could really think of that like did it right, but
well, yeah,
they're few and far between for me anymore.
Regarding Star Wars, I think just too much Star Wars is coming out, and like Mandalorian 1 and 2 were really good. 3 kind of dragged. But like every other Star Wars show was kind of like Star Wars show was kind of like, oh, whatever. Actually, no, Andor was good, but even that could have been sped up a little bit. No, but like, no, I get what you mean. If it's not your kind of style of storytelling, it's not your style of storytelling. I hope season 2, well, I just want it to be better just because I want them to learn from mistakes from this one, but I hope season 2 is good. And maybe you might need to get someone else's opinion other than mine if we do decide to do season 2. But yeah, we'll see, I mean, you know.
I would at least throw on the first episode and see what, you know, maybe yay, maybe nay. But I hate to start saying, I think for me though, it's the serial style is. I'm just not into that, like where it's just like a long ass drug out.
Unless movie. It's an anime, are you better with it?
Well, it sounds weird, but like animes, even old animes, like yeah, they're done like that, but each episode still a lot of times is individual, but there's an overarching story in a weird way. It's like perfect example. You brought up Cowboy Bebop, like that's each one's like its own little episode, like kind of like vignette, but there's an overarching story that kind of goes along. I think I like that where. When a lot of times these ones, it just feels like it's one long ass movie that they just broke up into episodes. Is really like what it feels like, but it definitely doesn't have the material to back it up with. You know, it's like
right. When you say that, you mean like something like Full Metal Alchemist, like we're going to track down this person, ask what the Philosopher's Stone, but on the way there, we stop in this town and we interact with this person and. Maybe we have a moment with this person. I guess that right there, sometimes it's filler, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I feel like that shit just kind of like slows us down. Like, let's get back to the main point. You know, not always. I feel like depending on the episode, depending on the show, like there's like an episode where they're cutting through, like it's actually from the bad guy's perspective. And like Lust comes across like some town where she knew everybody, but then she like basically massacres the whole town, more or less. Something kind of that.
Yeah, I think I can remember that.
Where everyone gets the disease and they turn to stone. Like it's a really sad, somber episode. And we kind of learn more about her, but it's also at the same time kind of like we could have been like tracking the stone down this time. I don't know. It depends. It's a case by case basis, you know.
You know, well, it's like I'll use that other example. It's the Dragon Ball Z versus the original series versus Kai. You know, and Kai literally chops out all like the in between stuff. So then it almost feels like it's like, well, now it's just straight battles and literally like I kind of like the other stuff breaks things up and makes it kind of feel I don't know. It feels more like an adventure. I guess that's what if I'm gonna watch a TV show, I want to have that kind of adventure feel. You know, not just like a little too long drug out movie. You know. In a sense, I think it's like if this Devil May Cry, and this probably even goes with the Castlevania and all that stuff, like, if they were just, like, movies, I think they'd be actually better, in my opinion. Because I think you would just get to, like, all the good stuff. You know, even if there's 2 movies, I'll say 2 movies wouldn't be so bad, of, like, that hour and 20-minute long DCU length. I would take that.
Yeah, I actually would think this is, because even something with, like, the MCU shows, even the MCU shows I think they'd be better off, like... I said this when we talked about the 4th Captain America, but like I think Falcon Winter Soldier would have been better as a 2-hour movie rather than like however many episodes it was. Like, because you had enough in there to make it wasn't so jam packed. You could have like it felt like it was being stretched out. I felt like you could make a movie out of this. You know, same thing with other ones. So I do feel like even this, since it takes place over the course of like a day and a half, this probably could have been one movie. That said, though, I still like what we got. It moved fast for me. I liked the action. I liked majority of the creative liberties they took with it. The only one I really didn't like, the one that really bothered me, was how Lady was written. Beyond that, everything else was pretty good for me. Yeah, I don't know what we'll do next, but yeah, it looks like we're just both kind of split on this one. But it is what it is, you know. That's looks like this is the end of Old Man Orange. Or at least I'm done with the show now. I guess that's all it is. We can't agree on something, so now the show's over. Sorry I had to end this way. Bye.
And as I said, for me, it's a weird, like, it's like I didn't got all, like, I feel like almost like if it was really bad, I almost kind of wish it was more really bad than being just lukewarm, like in the middle of the road, kind of. Like, I'm gonna use this example. When we watched that fucking Mega Man show, it was almost so bad that like it made it better almost in a weird way, you know? Because like in a strange way, I like that Mega Man show more than I like this Devil May Cry show, and there's nothing really to be said that like why it's technically way worse, but like, so there's something about like when I kind of have that where it's just like, oh, it you know, when it is good, but then it drops to like that middle area, and you kind of I don't know what is the lukewarm area is kind of like a dangerous zone to be at for like stuff. It's like, I don't know why you just get that like, well, it could be better. It's not bad. It's not god awful either, but
I guess here's the thing about Mega Man, and it's like, this is coming from someone who's also like doesn't really know Mega Man that well, but I guess when I see the action scenes and like the battle scenes and all that, I'm like, this feels like what a Mega Man anime should be. This really feels like everything it should be. This is like, hey, curious about how Japan's highway system works? Hey, you want to know
from a dog?
You want to know how like chopsticks fucking work? You know, so just like, you know, so yeah.
That's what I mean. Is that one was so bad, but it almost made me laugh more because of that.
Yeah, it was just such a yin and yang, because it's just like you're getting this edutainment bullshit in something that looks like they really care about like the action, the look, and the character design, but like we're really just gonna like really just like, you know, spoon feed you all the information about like Japanese society just because you know, fuck it, you know, fucking hell.
Yeah,
we said it then. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we said it, but yeah, no. I think, yeah, I know there's a lot of people that probably really like this and stuff. I mean, even our buddy Frank, literally, he was like, dude, he's like, I'm halfway into the Devil May Cry show. It's fucking amazing. And I'm like, I didn't want to. I'd be like, well, I think it's just interesting. That's why I text back. I'm like, I didn't want to sound like, you know, if I use the word interesting, that mostly means like it's kind of like, you're like, oh, there's stuff I like, but I don't know. I got mixed feelings about it.
I could almost kind of tell, like, as I was watching it, I was like, well, this Spencer might like this, but he might not like that. Who knows? You know, I'm not going to say I know you inside and out, but I'm like, I have an idea of like what you will like and what you won't like. And there's some periods like, well, I know he's not going to like this, but this might save it for him. And then when I saw the lack of text, because usually if we're watching something, we go to see something, like, you want to go do this? Yeah, we'll go do this. Then I'll get a text like, dude, that shit was fucking awesome. And then like no text. I'm like, okay. I'll find out on the show.
As I said, I want to give it the college try just to see, you know, it's like, you know, as I said, there's a couple of those other shows. There's like an Onimusha show I did not even know existed, but it's like, Capcom's got one of those on Netflix. I'm like, I kind of almost want to give it the go. I don't know. I'm like, you know, let's see if I'm let down again, or if maybe this will be the winner finally. But as I said, with the Devil May Cry one, I feel like I kind of like talk smack on it a lot more than there is a lot good going on. You know, my things are more like nitpicky things that for some reason slow it down for me and bring it down for me. But like when the action's there, it does deliver. You know, it does have some fun moments in it and so on like that. And yeah, the place and the story and some of the characters are interesting enough too. I don't know. It's just that thing where it's like, can you wrap this shit up a little bit faster, everybody? Like maybe that would like save the day. That's maybe all I'm looking for. But
yeah, it's kind of like yeah, no, it's one of those things where yeah, I wasn't trying to like totally like, no, you're wrong, but no, I get what you're saying. But yeah, anyway, I gotta get going here.
Yeah, that's about it. If not, we'll be spinning this fucking Ferris wheel around more and more. But till then, go to YouTube to find all the other podcasts along with Spotify and all that good stuff. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Dunigan.
And we'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.